Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 225 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yang, are you alright? Seeing Yu Quan retreating, Qing'e couldn't help but quickly came to Xiao Yang's side and asked aloud, her eyes full of concern. It's fine. Seeing this, Xiao Yang shook his hand to indicate that there was nothing serious, and said with a smile. If Yu Quan didn't leave just now, there would probably be a fierce battle, but Xiao Yang still underestimated the tyranny of Dozian's power. If you compare the power of life and death as one, then the power of fighting immortals is two, and the power of fighting immortals is indeed more than twice as tyrannical as the power of life and death. Haha, brother Xiao Yang is really amazing. Not long after, Qing Wen also walked over and smiled at Xiao Yang. It's good luck, Xiao Yang said, but he was thinking about how to deal with Yu Quan. Obviously, he had just played against Yu Quan for the first time, and Xiao Yang knew that this guy didn't use all his strength. And this guy's strength is probably not only in the early stage of 1-star Dozian. If he uses his strength, I am afraid that it will be an extremely powerful resistance to himself at the peak of Dodi. Who was that guy just now? Xiao Yang asked. The Yu family is in charge of affairs, and his status is not low. He is someone that the old man of the Yu family trusts. Qing Wen said slowly. A manager with a high status. I hope you don't encounter it in the Ghost Moonwell, otherwise it's time. Xiao Yang said softly, although this Yuchuan's power of fighting immortals is indeed tyrannical, but his own blue-yellow double flames, the power of the two is probably not comparable to the power of fighting immortals, but the strength of the two is somewhat disparate, which makes the gap seem quite small, and the difference in strength is the most troublesome for Xiao Yang. But it's a little strange. Recently, the Ghost King City has been busy preparing for the auction. For the safety of the auction items, almost all the powerhouses of the family have been secretly watched, and they can't leave the Ghost King City for half a step. But how can this guy return can come in and out freely? Qing'e said aloud from the side. Pack up and let's go. Since their Yu family is here, take the two subordinates of their Yu family away, maybe it will be useful later. Qing Wen looked at the sky and said slowly, let's go. After a few minutes of touching, everyone was ready to go directly to the depths. I only know that there is a Ghost Moonwell in this Ghost King Ridge, but I don't know where it is. Just as the group of 5 people was surging, Xiao Yang suddenly asked. He, brother Xiao Yang doesn't know anything about it. Ghost King Ridge is just a general term for this mountain range. But the terrain of this mountain range is intricate and huge, so there are many treasures in the mountain range. Among them, the Ghost Moonwell is located under a place called Yinyu Tanbao. Yingyuatan goes to the Ghost Moon Well. Qing Wen smiled. Yingyuatan? Xiao Yang muttered, obviously this was the first time he came here. Yingyuatan is quite strange. There is poisonous miasma everywhere. If you are a little careless, I am afraid that all the powerful Joshing Dodi will know the way. It is quite dangerous for us humans. Among them, Qingyou Tianmu is the real overlord in Yinyu Tan. Qingyou Tianmu is basically the strength of fighting immortals, and the same level of fighting immortal powerhouses have nothing to do with it, let alone relying on Yinyuetan's cover. This guy is probably even more terrifying. Qing Wen said. It seems that this guy is not so easy to deal with. Xiao Yang heard the words and said slightly, but he was still looking forward to Qingyou Tianmu. If he got Tianmu, then he could be described as having 2 attributes of fire and wood. That's when the real transformation. But don't worry too much. The 3 of us, Lei Qingyu, have some methods, and we will definitely have a better chance than other treasure hunters. As for this Qingyou Tianmu, maybe we have to join forces. Qing Wen said. Joining forces? Xiao Yang wondered when he heard the words. Brother Xiao Yang, let's be honest, we've been to Yinyuetan before, but unfortunately we were defeated by Qingyou Tianmu in a row, and we had to retreat in the end. Qing Wen said in an ugly tone. That guy is very strong. Seeing this, Xiao Yang nodded slightly and asked. Qingyou Tianmu is very strong, but in the mirror of the Moontan, it has a unique advantage. Qing Wen explained. As for Qing Wen, Xiao Yang knew that this guy, like himself, had the strength of Dodi's peak, but he vaguely made Xiao Yang feel that this guy was not a simple person either. After the few people finished speaking, Zaidu walked towards Yingyuetan, chatting and laughing along the way, quite harmonious. Damn little beast. On the other side, Yu Quan's figure was slightly embarrassed. Obviously, even if he escaped in the end, Xiao Yang's counterattack caused a lot of shock to himself. Steward, are you alright? Seeing Yu Quan coming back, Yu Jin Yu Yin, who was guarding the camp, hurriedly surrounded her and asked, "I'm fine. I just didn't expect that the Qing family would actually find a strong kid as a guard, and I don't know where the Qing family got it." Yu Quan shook his head. "Steward, we have the handle of their Qing family in our hands, and we can do it like this." Seeing this, Yu Jin suddenly had some other ideas. "Idiot, the captain of our team was killed by that little bastard, and the 2 guards are still in their hands." Yu Quan scolded. Yu reading www.ukungshu.com. Forget it, let's go first. Let's talk about it after Yinuetan. After all, the soul beasts in Yinuetan are not something that a few elite Do D peaks can handle. The next moment, the Yu family tried their best not to think about other things, and said slowly, "Yes." Following Yu Quan's order, Yu Jin and Yu Yin all agreed, and immediately took the home guard with him. On a rock, a burly figure slowly sat on it. The soul beast in Yin Yu Tan is powerful. I'm afraid that it can only be solved by waiting for other people to join forces. Lei Shi slowly sat on the rock and muttered softly. Obviously, Lei Shi had already entered the reflecting moon hall, but unfortunately, he was still driven out by the azure ball Tianmu. The scars on his body are the best proof. Immediately, Lei Shi was not in a hurry, he sat directly on the rock and calmly adjusted his breath. After all, this was the only way to enter Yinuetan. And as the 3 forces of Lei Qingyu told Yinuetan, some other powerhouses followed them one after another. After all, Yinuetan's location is not too mysterious, but Qingyo Tianmu's solution, except these 3, other people don't know. Is that Yinuetan? After a while, I came here slowly, some powerful people with decent strength. Their gazes turned slightly towards Lei Shi's back, and there was a world like a crystal silver and antimony transparent, and even the water surface reflected the beautiful scene in the sky. This Yinuetan is really mysterious. From a distance, there are poisonous lakes everywhere, but when you look at it, it becomes a beautiful paradise. It's approaching evening, and it's estimated that the moon will appear all over the place in the near future. Only then can Yin Yu Tan be able to truly reflect the moon. Lei Shi saw that many of the strong men around him had stopped, and he immediately responded. Yinuetan spoke slightly behind her back. "The Yu family and the Qing family are here. The 3 major families of Ghost King City are gathered together. I am afraid this Yin Yu Tan can be jointly opened by the 3 of them. Let's just wait quietly." Some figures couldn't help muttering as they watched the 3 families gather. "Xiao Yang, you'd better pray that it doesn't fall into my hands, otherwise this emperor will definitely ask you to survive, but not to die." Yu Quan just saw the figures of the Qing family, and the corners of his mouth suddenly turned gloomy. "Get up and curse. I hope you don't fall into my hands, otherwise you will feel better." Seeing this, Xiao Yang was naturally unwilling to be outdone and responded. Although Yu Quan's strength is terrifying, it is far from the point where Xiao Yang is taboo. After all, Xiao Yang's body is a fierce beast of flame and 2 holy flames, adding the soul power of the peak of the realm. Even if he can't beat him, it is not a problem to want to escape. "Just be brave, you will feel better in a while." Yu Quan left a sentence directly, and then walked away to the edge of the Yinuetan. "Brother Xiao Yang, be careful, this Yu Quan is an insidious villain, he is particularly vengeful, and his strength is not low." Qing Wen, who was beside him, spoke slowly. However, what surprised Xiao Yang was that even in the face of Yu Quan, who was as powerful as a fighting fairy, Qing Wen did not show any fear. Obviously, he should have something to rely on. Since the troops have already arrived, let's enter Yinuetan. Looking at the dozens of powerful men around him, Yu Quan looked back and said lightly, "Entering Yinuetan? Isn't this courting death? The soul beast in the Yin Yu Tan is so powerful, I'm afraid we can't handle it." Seeing Yu Quan speaking, some strong men couldn't help but back off. Although they all knew that the legendary Ghost Moon Well was in this Yinuetan, the mysterious and powerful soul beast in this Yinuetan made them timid. "Don't worry, that soul beast of Yinuetan, our Lei Qingyu family will naturally deal with it." Yu Quan opened his mouth and seemed to sense the fear of these powerhouses. "You said yes." Lei's Lei Shi, Qing's Qing document. Yu Quan had just finished speaking to the other powerhouses when he turned his head and said to the 2 of them, "The strategy is good, use the crowd to suppress us. If it wasn't for the thing in Yin Yu Tan, I, Lei Shi, would not have cooperated with a sinister villain like you." Seeing Yu Quan like this, Lei Shi's figure moved slowly and laughed loudly. "Let's go." And Qing Wen also smiled and smiled. "You too, stay here. Let's go." As soon as Qing Wen's voice fell, he immediately brought Qing'er, Xiao Yang, and a group of 3 people into the Yin Yu Tan. And other Lei Shi, Yu Quan, and some powerhouses who had reached the peak level of Do Di also followed suit. Strange. As soon as he poured into Yin Yuetan, Xiao Yang suddenly felt a rather mysterious aura in his body, as if he was about to burst out of the ground. That kind of aura was cyan, but it was not the power of flame. On the contrary, it was more like Xiao Yang's alchemist, with a faint wood attribute mixed with the fire attribute. Brother Xiao Yang, are you all right? Seeing Xiao Yang being a little absent-minded, Qing Wen couldn't help but ask. I'm fine. However, this Moonlight Tan is quite mysterious. Xiao Yang said with a smile. This Yin Yuetan has a long history. It is said that Yin Yuetan is a mysterious place that was created when the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast broke through the immortal battle, which attracted immortal calamities and successfully passed through. It looks like Yin Yu, but in fact, there are already poisonous lakes everywhere, and there are many mysterious places, which are very dangerous. Qing Wen said. I said, stop dawdling with the 3 of you, hurry up and leave. Seeing that the 3 powerhouses of Lei Qingyu had just poured into the Yin Yuetan, they were suspended in the air and did not set foot on the water of the Yin Yuetan. Instead, they stood quietly in the air, and some strong people were immediately dissatisfied and said. The man's face showed a burst of impatience, and just after he finished speaking, a rushing sound of breaking wind slowly came to him, killing him instantly. The terrifying cyan hurricane strangled the figure without any scum left. Hoo. If you don't want to hunt for treasure, just go straight and leave. Yu Quan shot in an instant, killing the figure with a thunderous force, and all the other powerhouses suddenly had their throats dry and hoarse. Do not hesitate. When the Qing family and Lei Shi saw this, they also shook their heads. The reason why they didn't act the first time was because they were looking for the trace of Qingyo Tianmu. I found it. After a while, Qing Wen's voice slowly echoed. Be careful. As soon as Qing Wen's voice fell, a huge water column with a shocking water flow shot directly at it. Bang bang bang. The water column hit the position of Qing Wen with a huge force, but fortunately Xiao Yang was quick-witted and pushed it away. The water column also fluttered. Null. Brother Xiao Yang, thank you very much. And Qing Wen didn't expect it to be so dangerous just now, so he couldn't help saying. It's too early to thank you. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he was currently staring at the water below. That beast has appeared. And some figures couldn't help muttering when they saw such a tyrannical attack. Since you don't dare to move, then let my Yu family make this early bird. After Yu Quan finished speaking, his figure swept away, his speed exploded, and his entire body suddenly burst out with cyan fighting energy, and swept away towards the water surface. Why is this guy so impatient? And Lei Shi couldn't help muttering while watching Yu Quan's abnormal movements. The Yu family has always been a sinister villain who only acts for his own benefit. If he is so eager to act on Qingyo Tianmu, it is probably enough to show that there is probably something in this Qingyo Tianmu that can attract him. This actually knows about the Qingyo Tianmu. And Xiao Yang couldn't help roaring when he saw the Yu family like this. The Tianmu of the Qingyo Tianmu, Xiao Yang is bound to win. If it is captured by the Yu family after leaving, I am afraid that my wood attribute will inspire hopelessness. Do it. Looking at each other, Xiao Yang and Qing Wenxian immediately burst into motion, catching up with Yu Quan in an instant. Crash. When the 3 powerhouses of Lei Qingyu attacked the water surface began to twist under the eyes of everyone, and then a huge monster came into the eyes of everyone. It's actually a Qingyo Tianmu soul beast. And looking at the behemoth, the eyes of the other strong people present became extremely heavy. They know that this guy's strength has reached the level of fighting immortals, and he is in Yin Yuetan, occupying the right time and place, and I am afraid that the increase is too huge for the Azure Bull and Heavenly Wood soul beast. Everyone saw that there was an incomparably huge crack on the surface of the water, and in the crack, a figure of a behemoth stood in the air and slowly appeared. The behemoth is the Azure Bull Heavenly Wood Spirit Beast. The overall shape of the Azure Bull Heavenly Wood Spirit Beast is like a strong bull, with its limbs stepping in the air, horns on its head, and a height of nearly 100 feet. Even on its body, there are traces of extremely obscure and mysterious patterns lingering around it. The body was surrounded, and an invisible pressure shrouded everyone's heart. The fissure was 100 feet in size, and at this moment, the huge beast covered in blue light was staring at them with a playful gaze. This guy is very strong. Xiao Yang commented on this big guy just by meeting each other. The Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast was originally synonymous with strength, not to mention that it is still its home court. Its combat effectiveness is probably extraordinary. Retreat. Seeing the appearance of the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast, Qing Wen said to everyone, After all, he had fought against this big guy before, and he knew the horror of this guy. Hey, people from the Qing family, are you here again? And the huge pupils of the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast glanced slightly at the many figures in the sky, and finally locked onto the two of the Qing family, smiling quite interestingly. You bastard. Seeing this, Qing Wen couldn't help but scolded. He came to Yinuetan before and was defeated by the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast dozens of times. It has already been beheaded by it, and now seeing each other in Dudu, it is naturally very jealous. Qing Wen, why are you so troubled? It just so happens that Ben Xian has sent a Mrs. Juntan. Why don't you give me your sister as a betrothal, so I don't want to stop you from looking for some ghost moon well. Qing Wen, what do you think? After the Qingyo Tianmu soul beast finished speaking, it looked at Qing Wen and seemed to be waiting for his decision. You, dreaming. And Qing Wen gave Qing'er a slight glance, and then said resentfully, her voice full of anger. Don't be so ignorant of flattery. The Qingyo Tianmu soul beast didn't seem to be surprised by Qing Wen's decision, but he still said it. Without further ado, do it. The next moment, Yu Quan took the lead directly, and a dazzling Cyan Do Qi emerged, attacking the Azure Ox Tianmu spirit beast. Brother Xiao Yang, please help me take care of my sisters 1 or 2. After Qing Wen finished speaking, his figure also burst out and attacked the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast. It's just a group of ants. Seeing that the terrifying attacks contained in these dozens of people attacked him, the Azure Ox and Heavenly Wood Soul Beast did not have the slightest fear and opened his mouth slightly. Lei Feng Palm. Broken jade finger. 3 orns slash the ground. The dozens of people present resolutely exuded a huge offensive and attacked directly at the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast. Its aura was so terrifying, I am afraid that ordinary immortal fighting powerhouses could only temporarily avoid the edge. Hoo ho ho. Seeing so many attacks, the Azure Ox Tianmu spirit beast stomped on both feet, and suddenly, a ripple, centered on it, spread out towards the surroundings. No, it's a sonic attack, everyone defend well. Seeing this scene, Qing Wen hurriedly shouted. It's too late. And how could the Qingyo Tianmu soul beast give them such a good opportunity? The ripples under their feet, the next moment directly turned into a dazzling sound wave, with itself as the center, spread out towards Yinuetan in all directions, and instantly sent those tyrannical attacks were broken, and the energy above the sonic attack was too terrifying. I am afraid that it could easily kill the Do Di strong. But, damn. And Qing'er's delicate body was standing in the air, obviously a little uncomfortable because of the terrifying sound waves, and her chest couldn't help heaving violently. After a while, Xiao Yang directly exerted his huge soul power to cover himself and Qing'er, and then the pressure caused by the sonic attack weakened. Are you alright? Xiao Yang asked, seeing that Qing'er's face was slightly pale because of the sonic attack just now. It's okay. It's just that your soul power seems to be a little strong. And Qing'er looked at Xiao Yang, who was calm and composed, and couldn't help but speak out. As the eldest young lady of the Qing family, Qing'er is naturally knowledgeable, but the barrier formed by Xiao Yang's soul power has perfectly avoided the sonic attack of the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast, full of destructive power. This Xiao Yang could deal with so easily, which made Qing'er admire Xiao Yang even more. Are you a pharmacist? After a few breaths, it seemed that she remembered something. Qing'er's beautiful eyes shrank tightly and asked Xiao Yang. That's right. Xiao Yang agreed softly, looking at the people who were fighting fiercely in the arena. Stay here, don't move around, I'll help them. Before Qing'er could ask, Xiao Yang left a sentence and went to the battle center. This guy. And Qing'er felt the power of her soul around her to protect her. She couldn't help but move her beautiful eyes. Obviously something was going on. This beast, such a tyrannical sonic attack. If this goes on like this, I'm afraid we will suffer heavy losses. Lei Yishur, who was on the side, tried his best to overcome the sonic attack and said immediately. Obviously, based on the information they got, how could they know that this guy would perform a sonic attack? No, he must be stopped. Looking at the figures around him, some bleeding from their noses and mouths, and some shaky figures, if this goes on, I am afraid that all the people here will be killed by him. Yu Chuan. Lei Yishur shouted loudly. Now, he is the only one who can crack this attack. I know. Although Yu Quan is insidious, he has no certainty of winning when facing the Azure Ox and Tianmu Soul Beast, so he naturally dare not let these powerhouses fall. After all, Yu Quan wants to use their strength as his own stepping stone. If they all fall, I am afraid that I will also be unable to escape the claws of the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast. It's just a group of ants. And the Azure Nyo Tianmu Soul Beast looked at the sky, and the people who were attacked by its own sound waves fell to everyone, and couldn't help but let out a very happy laugh. Old guy, it's too early to be happy. Before the laughter of the Azure Ox Tianmu Soul Beast could land, a voice that also contained an earth-shattering laughter slowly appeared beside the Azure Ox Tianmu Soul Beast. How could it be? It's actually a holy flame. And the Azure Nyo Tianmu Soul Beast turned its gaze from the figure in the sky to the figure in front of him, and couldn't help but find that it was standing in front of him less than 5 meters away. There, a man covered in blue-yellow flames was staring at him with a playful smile. It seems that you know quite a lot. Xiao Yang was a little surprised. Although he possessed 2 kinds of holy flames in blue and yellow, under Xiao Yang's deliberate contraction, most people would not be able to sense that this was holy flame. This is more tyrannical than ordinary flames. Boy, I didn't expect you to have a holy flame in your body. It's really God helping me. This immortal is really worried about how to get through the first catastrophe, and I will send you to my door when I don't expect you. If it devours you, with the power of holy flame, let alone the second catastrophe, even the third catastrophe, I will not be afraid at all. At this time, the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast looked at Xiao Yang and laughed loudly. The voice was extremely rude and terrifying like an ogre. Xiao Yang naturally knew that an ordinary beast whose strength reached the level of fighting immortals could cultivate into a human form, or survive a catastrophe, thus giving birth to a mind that was no weaker than a human being. It is very likely that the strength has reached the battle of immortals, but it has not yet passed the catastrophe. Then let's see if you have the ability. Xiao Yang snorted coldly when he heard the words, and took off the ancient ruler of eternal fire behind him, and the power of the blue-yellow holy flame was poured into it continuously, obviously preparing to use some powerful attack. That kid, what are you doing? And above the sky, Yu Quan, who was just about to shoot, watched Xiao Yang directly pass them and came to the Azure Bull Heavenly Wood Spirit Beast, and couldn't help roaring. Although Yu Quan is of the wind attribute, since he left the Ghost King City and came to the Ghost King Ridge to look for the Ghost Moon Well, the head of the Yu family had told him that he had to bring back the body of this Azure Nyo Tianmu Soul Beast intact. Although Yu Quan didn't know the reason for this request from the head of the family, he intuitively told the Yu family that there must be some treasure in the body of the Azure Nyo Tianmu Spirit Beast, which is why Yu Quan was so sure to win this Spirit Beast. Damn. This damned sonic attack. The other Peak Do Emperor powerhouses were struggling to support at this time. Obviously, the sonic attack from the Azure Bull Heavenly Wood Soul Beast caused them extremely strong pressure. The next moment, the battle between Xiao Yang and the Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast started instantly. Boom boom boom. The Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast took the lead, and the huge figure jumped directly. The 2 strong horns on the head aimed directly at Xiao Yang, and whistled away. Good guy. And Xiao Yang also sensed the intention of the Azure Ox and Tianmu Spirit Beast, and said something slightly. The ancient ruler of eternal fire on his palm stood directly in front of his chest, trying to resist. Bang bang bang. Within a breath, the 2 horns of the Azure Bull Tian Mulan directly faced Xiao Yang's eternal fire eternal ruler. It's broken. This guy's power is too tyrannical. Xiao Yang held the ancient ruler of eternal fire with both hands, and the power of holy flame emerged, struggling to resist the power of the 2 horns of the Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast. Boy, don't underestimate me. Seeing that Xiao Yang and himself seemed to be evenly matched, the Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast opened its mouth slightly and said with a smile, "It's not good." And the moment Xiao Yang spoke the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast, he felt that something was wrong, because above the horns, a tyrannical force continued to emerge, and it was vague that he could not be defeated. Stand up. Go to hell. As soon as the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast finished speaking, a dazzling silver light suddenly appeared above its horns, and then it attacked Xiao Yang like a broken bamboo. Bang bang bang. A series of attacks. Even if Xiao Yang relied on the power of the eternal fire eternal ancient ruler and the holy flame, he was still invincible. After being attacked vigorously by the horns of the Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast, Xiao Yang flew out. Strange, isn't it said that Saint Flame is extremely tyrannical? How could it be so weak? Could it be that this kid doesn't know how to use holy flames? The Azure Ox Tianmu Spirit Beast looked at Xiao Yang's embarrassed figure and said depressedly, "The current strength of the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast is already in the middle stage of the 1-star Do Xian, but Xiao Yang's strength is only at the peak of Do Di, but with the power of holy flame, even the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast dare not underestimate it. It doesn't matter, let's kill this guy first, otherwise there will be another guy from the Yu family, and that guy is also very strong." The Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast didn't think about other things for the time being, and said slowly. The next moment, Qingyo Tianmu's whole body shone with silver light. Even if it was a huge figure, It moved as fast as a ghost, and attacked directly at the place where Xiao Yang flew out. And the double horns on its head grew crazily in an instant, and in a short time it grew to 10 meters long. There was silver light above the double horns, and the sharp edges of the horns seemed to be able to kill with one blow. Boy, you are playing with your life. Seeing Xiao Yang like this, the Soul Eater in the body couldn't help but say, but after the sacrifice in Shentian before, the Soul Eater also don't dare to be sloppy, and be vigilant at all times. Once Xiao Yang's plan fails, he will take action instantly. Damn! Xiao Yang flew out backwards without making any preparations, but seeing the Azure Bull and Heavenly Wood Spirit Beast attacking him, the attack was so powerful that he was afraid that he would be hard to resist. Aren't you coming out yet? A wry smile appeared at the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth, apparently trying to use suicide to force the flaming beast to appear, but it seemed that he failed. Alas! And Xiao Yang sighed slightly. The sharp horns of the blue ox and the skyward spirit beast approached him 3 meters away, and the next moment would completely obliterate Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang also felt that this plan had failed. Just as he was about to emerge the power of holy flame in his body to protect himself, he noticed something rather mysterious. Boom boom boom! The horns of the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast directly hit 2 extremely strong crystals, and then a cyan flame, a khaki flame, lingered directly around its horns and shook it back. Go, asshole! What kind of power is this? Upon realizing this scene, the Azure Ox Tianmu Soul Beast couldn't help but shout, and the figure hurriedly retreated. Finally! Are you willing to come out? And Xiao Yang looked at the 2 cyan crystals and khaki crystals, a fierce flame beast exuding a domineering aura, walking in the air. As soon as the flame beast came out, it opened its mouth and roared at the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast. What is this? Seeing this, some of the powerhouses below who were blocked by the sonic attack couldn't help but look at each other. Obviously, they thought Xiao Yang was just a reckless man, and he was about to fall under the attack of the Azure Ox and Skyward Spirit Beast just now. But out of nowhere, a rather cute little monster was summoned. It's just that this flaming beast looks cute, but how can it help this level of battle? This guy seems to have a familiar aura. Could it be the King of Beasts, right? And the Azure Nyo Tianmu Soul Beast, after seeing the roar of the flame beast, was directly fearful, a trace of fear in his heart. Originating from the pressure of the superior, it permeated from the bottom of his heart, and an uneasy thought emerged in his heart. The King of Beasts? What is that? Xiao Yang looked at the flaming beast that was finally willing to leave his sea of vindictiveness, and directly blocked the sea of vindictiveness, and immediately opened his mouth in surprise. Boy, where did your spirit beast come from? But the Azure Nyo Tianmu spirit beast said with a solemn expression at this time. Oh. The flaming beast was still roaring at Xiao Yang at this time, as if blaming Xiao Yang for why he sealed up the Doqi Sea so that he could not return home. Naturally, I got it by coincidence. Xiao Yang heard this and smiled slowly. Xiao Yang is not a fool, and he will definitely not explain the details of this flaming beast. I know even if you don't tell me. It is said that among the 7 realms, there is a beast of a rather tyrannical overlord. It's called the King of Beasts. The King of all beasts is the strongest of all the beasts, spirit beasts and beasts in the 7 realms, and the owner of the supreme power. The Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast said slowly, his voice full of awe. Then what? When Xiao Yang heard the words, he seemed to be listening carefully. Since the last time the Great Thousand World dealt with the evil race from outside the territory, the King of all beasts has disappeared. I can't imagine that I can actually see the King of all beasts in my childhood. Destroy my beast clan. And the Azure Ox Tianmu Soul Beast said with tears in his eyes. That's not right. If it is the King of all beasts, how could it be? When Xiao Yang heard the words, he slowly shook his head. This flaming beast was born in his own Doqi Sea, and it almost devoured his Doqi Sea and even his Doqi. It is a different fire. If it is said that it is the King of Beasts, obviously these things do not make sense. Do you know what the King of Beasts likes to eat? The Azure Ox and Heavenly Wood Soul Beast asked, seemingly aware of Xiao Yang's thoughts. What? Xiao Yang couldn't help but speak when he heard the words, but he vaguely guessed something in his heart. The King of all beasts loves human fighting chi the most, especially some tyrannical fighting chi. And it loves flames even more. The Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast said word by word. How could it be possible? Xiao Yang's eyes became strange as he watched the Azure Ox Tianmu Spirit Beast say these things one by one. Having said that, then you, the fiery beast, is the real king of all beasts. After being said that by this Azure Ox and Heavenly Wood Soul Beast, I am reminded of something about the previous battle between heaven and earth. In that war between heaven and earth, Lord Tuorsha Gudi seemed to disappear together with the king of all beasts, and the relationship between Tuorsha Gudi and the king of all beasts was very close. In the end, it was said that Tuorsha Gudi burned reincarnation. The king of all beasts, with the ability of the ancient emperor of Tuorsha, I am afraid that he will not let him fall. But when Xiao Yang felt a little shocked in his heart, the master of Soul Eater said, "No way. Then he has already devoured my Do Chi Si and the source of strange fire. What should I do?" When Xiao Yang heard this, he was suddenly miserable. "Haha, little guy, take a long-term view. Maybe this flaming beast is the reincarnation of the king of all beasts. Although it has swallowed up your Do Chi and strange fire now, its relationship with you is also extraordinary. If it really grows in the future, I am afraid it will become your great help." The Soul Eater said with a smile. "A big help?" Xiao Yang was a little surprised when he heard this. "Do you know what the king of beasts is?" The Lord of Soul Eater couldn't help but said, "Among the beasts, the Real King is probably far more powerful than me. And this king of beasts is the real king of beasts. All the beast creatures in the 7 worlds, except for the dragon family and a few special beast races, will be ruled by him. Although this little guy is only in his infancy now and hasn't grown up yet, you should know its potential, right?" The Soul Eater said with a smile. "It won't be so scary." But Xiao Yang felt dizzy after hearing this. He clearly didn't do anything. How could he have such a king of beasts? This was obviously something Xiao Yang couldn't figure out. Could it be Emperor Tuorsha Gu? Burning? This is the only conclusion Xiao Yang can draw so far. Okay, the king of all beasts seems to be entering the next stage. You can bring it in. I'll stop the people here. Looking at Yuchuan, who was staring at him next to him, Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast said, "Many thanks, senior." When Xiao Yang heard the words, he directly greeted the flame beast, then swept his figure and walked towards the center of Yinuetan. If you can solve your own battle Chi-Si problem here, it will not be difficult to advance to Dozian, and the most important thing is that the flame beast has swallowed the power of the fusion of the 2 holy flames before, and its body is like a furnace at this time. There is a vague suspicion of an imminent explosion. Asshole. This guy seems to have reached some consensus with the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast, and the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast actually let him go to the ghost moon well? Seeing that the Qingyo Tianmu spirit beast didn't stop Xiao Yang and let it run to the ghost moon well, Yu Quan couldn't help roaring. "Everyone join forces and kill this soul beast for me." Seeing this, Yu Quan hurriedly became furious and shouted angrily, "Hey! I never thought that I would still do a dowry for someone else." And Qing Wenshu couldn't help laughing at Xiao Yang's leaving figure. "Brother." Qing'er also came to Qing Wen's side slightly and said, "This kind of opportunity has always been reserved for those who are destined, and it is useless to force it." Although Qing Wen was quite eager for Ghost Moon Well, he was free and easy and smiled slowly. "Since this is the end of the matter, let's go." Qing'er glanced at the Ghost Moon Well with a trace of reluctance. "The two of you seem to have the aura of the little guy just now. What is your relationship with him?" Seeing that there was a lot of Xiao Yang's aura on the two of you, Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast couldn't help but ask. Naturally, it's a game of brothers and friends. After Qing Wen finished speaking, she had plans to leave. "Since that's the case, then I'll see that guy's face and give you two a good fortune." In the hands of the Azure Nyo Tianmu Soul Beast, the front foot suddenly lifted, and then it suddenly stepped on the void. The next moment, the figures of Qing'er and Qingwen were instantly enveloped by a silver light. "Bastard!" Seeing this, Qing Wen couldn't help roaring, but just wanted to resist, but just looked at the two figures and went directly to the Gyujing in the center of Yinuetan. What kind of consensus has this Xiao Yang reached with the Qingyo Tianmu Soul Beast? At this time, Qing'er also guessed something and couldn't help but say, "Little bastard, the next time is your death." Seeing Xiao Yang and the Qing family being sent directly to the Ghost Moon Well by the Qingyo Tianmu Spirit Beast, Yu Quan's expression turned ugly, even it is a trace of killing intent, vented. Yu Quan knows that this Ghost Moon Well is not only about the legend of Love Moon, but also because there are some treasures under the Ghost Moon Well that can make people crazy. This video will end here.